oh my gosh, I've worked so hard to get like, where I am. My parents have spent this money. Do I start again, like in life? Like, can I start again? It took me 2 years to build up the courage. I would find it hard to focus actually if I were just working on one thing. I have failed in some businesses, or like I am failing in some things. It's not stopping me. I'm still here, like I'm still going.
I feel like I've never been this bad. All right, calm down.
Okay, I won't look at you.
No, that's worse. All right. Can you please tell us a bit about who you are and what you do for a living and what your business is?
Okay, I'll start with me. So, hello. If you don't know who I am, my name is Kiran, and I was born and raised in Hong Kong. Um, what else about me? That's it.
That's
Um,
not it.
oh, I feel like I feel really lucky and like fortunate to say that I have like lived and worked and studied and visited many different places. And I've been based in Melbourne for coming up to 12 years now. And so I think that's enough about me. And I'll go into like my business. So I am the owner and creator of my personal brand. The name is Kiran Baclay, and I create stationery and textiles because I'm pretty passionate or obsessed about these things. And I try to like inject a bit of my personality and my love for journaling into things that I create.
hmm Love it. And what do you do full time when you're not working on your creative business?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I am a graphic designer. That's my day job. And I work for a not for profit called Jean Hales for Women's Health. And they're dedicated to improving like women's health across Australia at different life stages. And so like my role in that is I help with the visual communications across like print and digital assets. Um, and I have to say I really love working there because I'm doing like meaningful and impactful work, and it's like I'm doing good. I'm contributing to that, and it's so fulfilling. And then on top of that, I get to work with really cool people as well. And so I learn a lot. And I think that's something that's so important to me, is to like continually develop myself and my skills. So yeah, that's what I do.
hmm And I know the answer, but did you study for graphic design? Is this what you studied for?
I did, but not
Oh,
initially.
oh
So
yeah.
I can like
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about my journey.
Yeah, yeah. So tell
So I
us
can
your
like
journey.
talk
How
a
did
bit
you end
about
up
the
here?
journey.
Yeah.
Okay, so I studied business administration and hotel management in uni, and I worked in the industry for about 8 years. And I was really passionate about it at first, but it is quite taxing, like, the hours and everything. And so throughout the years, I'd find myself like constantly looking for workshops or for classes or just things that were so different to what I was working in. And it always came back to like things that I could create with my hands. So, for example, I did like a letterpress workshop. I did a screen printing workshop, or like different kind of like calligraphy and lettering workshops. I also did like this wheel throwing ceramics course. And so it was really like searching for these things, saving up for them, and then doing it in like all my free time pretty much. Um, and so hang on, going off of this, I then had like this itch. I want to say in like 2014, maybe earlier, maybe later. I don't know. But I had this itch and I wanted to have a business. Like I wanted to run a business. I had no idea what the product or like what the service would be. I just knew that like I wanted to have a business. And so I actually had two businesses that failed. that
I
I
don't know
started
about
and
this.
failed. um, and so the first one was like a jewelry business. So I had like a supplier, had a connection, and I would source it and then I would sell it. And I broke even, and that was like, it was fine. But then I guess I wasn't that passionate about it. So it kind of like fizzled out. And then the second one, I started it, but it was tough. So I sourced scarves and bow ties. And I was
Okay.
like, yeah, I really want to like do this business, blah, blah, blah. And I was so excited about like the business part of it. But then when it came
Mm-hmm.
to, okay, well, now I have to sell it,
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh, I didn't make this. So it kind of again, like it failed. And so it fizzled out. Um, and so I guess around that time as well, then I had found these like design courses and I was looking at different like classes or things. And I was like, oh, this is so interesting. And so I started looking at universities at first, right? But the course was like, 3 years or 4 years. And at this point in my life, I was like, what, nearing 30. So then I was like, well, I can't afford to take 3 or 4 years off. And I like kind of went through this whole thing where I was like, oh my gosh, I've worked so hard to get like, where I am. My parents have spent this money. Do I start again, like in life? Like, can I start again? Um, and so it took me 2 years to build up the courage to
Oh,
like
wow.
change.
Actually
And so I think
change.
it was like yeah, to actually like go and study it. But also in that time, like I was saving up for it. So I found this course, um, and the like place is called Shillington. And what they do is it's like this 3 month intensive course where you do like 35 briefs. And I had no knowledge about like, Illustrator, like never touched it. Um, InDesign, never touched it, kind of dabbled in Photoshop, but still like not really. And the way that they positioned it is, you do like all these briefs. Then in the last 2 weeks, you really like hone in on six of them, you showcase it, people come to like view it, and then you can like, you're industry ready. And that was their whole stance. So
Wow.
within those 2 years, while I was still doing my research, I went to like three of their Q&A sessions where I like kept asking questions. I saw like all these like people who were graduating, and I'd go and see their work and be like, oh, okay, like, is this what I'm going to learn? And then obviously like talking to my husband D, weighing like the pros and the cons. So for me, it comes down to I can do 3 months. We can afford to take 3 months off for me to do this. With the salary that I would then be making, does that cover what
Hmm.
we've then spent on the course? Like, is that going to help? And then I spoke to my mom about it a lot as well. But I think the tipping point, and I remember this moment. I was talking to one of my brothers, and he goes, "There's no cap on your education, right? And so if you find yourself in this position where you can further it, like what is stopping you? You should be like grabbing it. You should take it." So yeah, that kind of like pushed me. And then I just like took the plunge, did this course, and 3 months later, I was a certified graphic designer, which is it's
Wow.
so cool,
Yeah,
right?
that's crazy. Yeah. In 3 months. But then how did
Yeah.
you know that, like, did you feel like that was the path you really wanted to go? Like, was it like so clear that, okay, graphic design, this is it. This is like the missing piece? Or were you still kind of unsure, but just interested? Like, were you all in on it?
So yeah, I was like 100% in because I think like I didn't, it wasn't an impulse thing.
Hmm.
It was very like calculated. So, okay, graphic design, what can I go into? And so I looked at, would I become like a brand and identity kind of designer? Would I go into packaging? What could I go into? And I think I always like wanted to go towards like government education, like university type role. And so when I started, I was in like the beverage industry. And then I
Mm.
went into like a tech startup. And then now I'm actually at like a not-for-profit. So I feel like I'm taking these like steps and then like gaining all this experience along the way
Mm. Hmm.
to then, yeah, to then like go in towards these like industries.
Wow. So out of all of the workshops that you did, like all the other random creative ones, like the graphic design one was the one that like really stood out to you? Like that's the one you really wanted to pursue?
Yeah.
Also, question, when you did all those workshops, at the time you did them, because you're still working full time, was it a thing of like, I
Yeah.
want to learn to maybe get more skills to do something different, or was it just something fun at the time?
So I think it started off as like maybe an escape of
Mm.
there must be more, like there must be more that I can do in life than to just like do what I'm doing.
Hmm.
And then over time, I was like, wow, like I can't believe, I did this workshop. I can't believe I made this. Like, how cool. I wonder what else I could do with it.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I guess it is like, it's when you see what you can do, you're
Mm.
like, oh, well, this is just my first time doing it. I wonder if I keep doing it, how much better can I get?
I love that. So I kind of built your confidence along the way. Were you
Yeah, yeah.
creative as a kid?
I don't know.
Because it sounds like you kind of discovered it as
Maybe,
an adult, like as a an opportunity kind of thing there.
I mean, took, I was never good at drawing, like never good at traditional art stuff. But I did like ceramics in high school. I did textiles in high school. Um, so maybe there was some of that. And when I was 7, one of my best friends and I, we wanted to create a magazine and we would like talk about it. And she actually went on to like study graphic design
Oh
in uni.
wow.
And she's like, I know she's like the first graphic designer that I know.
Oh my God. And now you're one too. So it all stemmed from this
Yep,
magazine. That was
yep.
the roots of it, the origin
She's the
story.
one, I don't know if you can see it, but she sends me like all these cards every
I
year.
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so that's her.
yeah,
That's interesting. How
yeah.
funny. So did you, apart from the magazine, did you do anything on your own? Like as a kid, did you make your own magazines? Did you paint, draw, anything? No?
Yeah, I think uh look, I tried to draw, but my
Trying is
drawing
still
was
count.
so
It
bad. They
still
were like,
counts. It's still a creative like pursuit. It didn't mean you were good. I'm just asking work.
but
Did you explore creativity when you were a kid?
yeah, 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 definitely. And also like I
Okay,
did art in
interesting.
high school, so
Mm.
yeah. Um and textiles. So I think yeah, that's all like creative stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I did art and textiles in high school, but I was like shocking at it. So I like totally erase that from my my experience because I actually did like sewing a
Yeah.
bag, but it was during my like really emo phase. So it was like this red and black like checkered bag with like chains on it. So, but I sewed a zipper and it was like this sling bag. It was great. I was so impressed with myself. But art
Wow.
class was like not fun for me at all. Like I think that really turned me off art because we only ever explored traditional art mediums and it was very like strict because it's like so dependent on your teacher, right? And it was just like I
Yeah.
enjoyed it, but then the way they would grade you or critique you, it was like there was no room for you to just express yourself. You had to do it the right way. And like, yeah, I didn't like that. Even like
Yeah.
I did one class of photography and I quit because I was like, this is crap. And that's before I got into photography. Yeah. Can you believe it? So I was just like, this is not for
Wow.
me. Yeah. So I feel like
I'm trying to
it's
think of like what kind of critique I got. I remember I was like doing a painting once, and then the feedback was, I think you should start again.
oh no, that's terrible. That's so
Uh,
unhelpful. Like, why?
but then but then I had like another teacher that was a bit more like, why don't you try ceramics? And then like I remember I guess we all had that like, I'm so misunderstood phase. And
Yeah.
I created like these, those like children playing blocks,
Yeah.
like how it has like A,
Oh,
B,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
C,
The
like
colorful
yeah,
ones.
the
Yeah.
little like children. Yeah, yeah. So I like remade that, but then like wrote in all this like emo messaging on like all the sides about my life and all my pains.
have that? Don't tell me it's gone.
I'm I have no idea because like
Gotta
then
be
we had to
somewhere.
like showcase it, and I was like, look at my deep and meaningful like children play block things,
So
but you
good.
don't understand the messaging. Only I do.
That's so good. Oh my God. Wait, so you enjoyed that during high school, but then did you ever think of that as a career? Did you ever want to pursue that? Like, was it even an option for you in your brain?
No, it wasn't. No, because I like honestly didn't study in high school at all. So my options were really,
Right.
really,
Yeah.
really limited.
If you
Yeah.
had options, do you know what you would have chosen? Like, did you have an idea of what you wanted to do when you were in high school?
Didn't even think about it.
Wow. Interesting. I like where you are now. Okay, we'll continue.
Yeah,
Wait, I have a
I know.
question. How did journaling fit into all of this during this whole time? Because you're an avid journaler, you're a Hobonichi, well, you were a Hobonichi fan. How long have you
Still.
been journaling? And how did that work into your, like, were you journaling while you were still working at the hotel?
Oh, yeah, I think so. So I got my first diary, I think, when I was 6.
Wow. Yeah.
And like I was journaling all my feelings throughout everything, like throughout all the way, like primary school, high school, uni. And then I think I stopped when I started working.
Mm.
Um, so I would have stopped, I guess, in 2012. And then I started again in 2019.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like a huge break.
Yeah. And that was pretty much the entire time
Yeah.
that you were working in. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, there's something
Yeah.
there.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't think about it.
Yeah. Well, so you were pretty consistent when you were younger then. You were journaling all the time when you were younger?
Yeah, journaling all so many feelings.
Was it mostly writing or did you use stickers as well? Like, do you journal in a similar way that
All
you do today?
writing.
All
It was
writing.
all writing.
Wow,
No.
really emo, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like my tears on the pages and like
So good. Did you used to start your diaries like Dear Diary as well? I used to always do that. It just had to start
yeah,
with Dear Diary. So good.
yeah.
Oh,
And then I remember when I was like I think 15 or 16, I was like I'm gonna try something new. So I had my like my Logitech webcam and I was like I'm going to video diary myself. And
amazing.
and I think I did it like 2 or 3 times, but I just ended up crying through the whole thing. And I was like, this is not a diary. And
Good. Oh
no one understands me.
my God. Such a misunderstood teenager. Oh, wow. Okay, so journaling
I
for you
know.
started off as a like an emotional kind of processing thing. So it was less creative to
Yeah,
begin with, and now it's definitely more of a memory keeping creative expression for you now, right? Less
I think so.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
crying, feeling less tears on the page.
Yeah, I think
Oh.
if I'm having a bad day, I'm just like, bad day, full stop.
I love that. How long do you know how long you've been using Hobonichi? Is that when you started back up in 2019? Or were you using it
Yeah,
before that?
yep, yep. So while I was working in hotels, I still remember I would watch like creators online and I would like, I love watching their process and like what they were making, um, and just like their journey and everything. And one person that I followed used the Hobonichi. And so in 2019, I was like, oh, maybe I'll just try it
Um,
out. So I started in July 2019.
wow. And that's when you started back up again.
Yeah.
The Hobonichi started it all.
Mm, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Interesting. But you were just watching the videos like the vlogs as just entertainment, right? Was there any kind of agenda behind it? Like, oh, I want to learn to do that, or you just watching it as just to pass the time?
Um, I was just watching it and just being so like in awe because it felt like it just felt like a different, like so different to what I was doing. And I'd be thinking like, wow, look at them. Like they've moved countries, they don't speak this language, but they're trying. And then, oh my gosh, they're like journaling about it, or oh wow, they actually like make their own stickers or whatever. Um, and it was just, I guess at the start was so foreign
Mm,
to what I was doing.
like a new world, yeah.
And then slowly, yeah, yeah,
But that's
yeah.
crazy because you're doing it now and you
Now
even
I'm in it.
majored. Yeah. And now what are you doing? What's your project, your big project that you are working on? You're not even working on, it's happening,
Um,
but what is it?
can't back out. So my husband Dee and I started a market and we call our business Oh My Hues. Um, I'm just trying to think how to like best, I guess, okay, so I table at markets. Sorry, we table at markets because he's part of it.
Yeah.
And um, I guess, yeah, from like 2020, which is when I started Kiran Baclay, I also wanted to be more involved. So prior to then, like I said, I've been watching like all these creators and everything. And then I actually started it in June 2020. So this time, 4 years ago. And
Wait, your
oh my gosh,
business.
so yeah, my Kiran Baclay business was June
Right.
2020. And
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
when I joined your Patreon.
I remember your website launching. Yeah. I was there for it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so I think I was like, let's get more involved. And so instead of just watching, I was now
Mm.
like part of this like Patreon community and like what's a Discord and what do I do and what are these channels? But it was so cool because I was learning about, oh, okay, so like you're a creator and you're here in like Australia as well, and this is what you're doing, and you're like filming your life, and it's so cool to see, like so cool. And I was like, wow, like maybe I can do that too. Um, and so from there, then I started doing markets over the years, and we really love like the market scene. And I think over time we're like, how can how can we contribute to it? And so if we decide to start this platform, Oh My Hues, how can we like what can we bring to it? And so we like keep talking about our skill sets and what's important. Okay, we want to make sure that like emerging artists or small business owners, like the focus is really on them. And so it keeps coming back to that. And then he has a marketing background. And then with my background as well, we just like thought, why not try? So we started it, and the core, like, I think initially what I did was I wrote all these questions down and I reached out to you and Bambi and I was like, hey, like, if you have time, could you answer like some of these, no rush? And I was expecting like, like maybe a few points, but both of you went
Gave you
so deep
essays.
and you're like, you gave me like essays and it's so valuable, right? Because it you said like everything you love about it, things that you wish were better, like the pain points. And I think Bambi had just finished doing a market and she was like,
Mm.
hey, the organizers did this and it was so great. I felt so like taken care of. And like thinking about starting this business at the time, I was like, oh wow, so that's really like a focus. It is like, oh, I feel seen. Like the organizers took care of me. They like communicated this with me clearly. And so I think that's something that we both are passionate about. Um, and so yeah, so thank you to you and Bambi and your Patreon community as well, Maddie and Chris, for like for all the insights and for taking time to like answer my questions because yeah, it helps.
And when is this market? When is the official date?
Okay. Yeah. So our first market is this August 17th and 18th. And if you're listening in and you're in Melbourne, we would love for you to come and support the artist. And so stay tuned because tickets will be on sale in July.
And I think based on the timing of this, we haven't discussed this yet, but I think by the time you're watching this, tickets will be available to purchase. If not, I will cut this out. So go and buy it. I'll put the links below. But yes, there will be early bird ticket sales, right?
Yes. At this point, it will be out July 21st.
Yes. Okay, so by the time people are watching this, the early bird tickets will be on sale. And
Yes.
you get a sticker sheet, right? With the early bird ticket.
Yes. Yeah. So the first 200 sales on ticket sales on Saturday and the first 200 on Sunday will get a freebie sticker sheet. So yes, that will be out by the time you're watching this.
Nice. How exciting. And I will be there. So if you're in Melbourne, come come to
Yes.
see come see my table as well.
And support our artists.
Yeah. Um and so like the whole oh, it's just amazing. Like you've done so much already. And I feel like even though the market hasn't happened yet, I mean, I know I'm biased because like I know you as well, but I do actually feel seen as an artist as well because you're doing these Q&A like polls on Instagram. And so like you ask the artist questions and
Mm,
they answer it and you share it and like just that small thing just feels so nice. Like I'm feeling like recognized, like you actually care what I have to say. And I feel like that's quite a because I feel like the problem with markets is that I mean it's growing pains. The bigger a market gets, the more popular it is. You it's hard to keep track of everyone and hard to be like just intimate,
yeah.
like have that relationship with all the artists. But I feel like that's definitely an advantage of maybe starting up a market for the first time, or like that's your angle. Like I actually feel like you care about your artists and you're promoting them and you're not just using the artist to promote your market. I don't know. It just feels like it is a collective artist thing and that feels really nice. Like I already feel and the communication. Oh my God,
Yeah.
your emails are so good. They're so detailed. But how do
No one
you
replies to my emails.
we've already established that no one
Apparently
replies
that's a
to
good
emails.
thing.
No, it is because I never reply to emails because I think it's just I think because the artists you're targeting, they don't feel the like audacity to be like, yeah, this was sent directly to me, so I'm going to reply. So I think it's good. I think it's fine as long as they're like staying on track with the dates.
Yeah, true, true.
But my main question is, how are you
Um, mhm.
running the market while having a full-time job? Because that's running a market is a full-time thing as well.
This is true. Um, okay, wait. So I can talk about like how I split my focus. Um, and so I have my day job, I go to my day job, and like the like skill set that I need is mainly like design skills, right? So it's like clear communication, this is the message, this is who our audience is. And so that uses like one part of my brain. And then I come home, I've got like my Kiran Baclay brand, and that's more like drawing, illustration. And so that uses like a different part of my brain. And it's like things from my experience or my drawing skills, like where they're up to right now. And so that uses like a different skill set. And then with the Oh My Hues business, it is a lot of project management and like admin. And so I love that stuff. I'm so process driven. And so that excites me. And so all of these things use like different parts of my, I guess, my skill set. And then across all of them are like soft skills, right? Like talking to people, building like relationships and all that stuff. So I get really excited when let's say I'm at my day job, I'm using like this software, this tool. Oh no, am I frozen?
No,
Oh,
you're fine.
I just froze on my screen and I was like,
You
oh,
are freezing it, freezing. You are freezing occasionally, but your audio is fine.
okay, that's fine. Just like blank out my image. Um, where was I? Oh, so like I get really excited when let's say I'm at my day job and I'm using like a software or process and I go, oh my gosh, this might work, in like the Oh My Hues business. Let's just like make a note of it. Then when I'm home, I like try it out. And that's so exciting. So I think I would find it hard to focus actually if I were just working on one thing.
Mm,
Whereas when I can split my focus across different things, I can like dip in and out because I don't think like I don't switch off.
mm,
So I think it just really helps me to be like, well, I can switch off from this thing, but what's next?
So you enjoy having multiple things to work on. That actually makes you like more motivated. Mm.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'm the
Mm.
same thing where I get bored when it's just the one thing, right? Because then there's no other alternative. You're stuck
Yeah, like
working
how
on that
you
one
have,
thing. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, would you
yeah.
say that that comes naturally to you? Like, because I know a lot of people, like, it's hard. You're doing a full-time job. I mean, it helps that you enjoy it and it's creative as well. But when they come, like, when they finish their job, they just want to, like, unwind. They're just mentally kind of checked out. But do you feel like that's a natural trait of yours to, like, then come home and want to work on something else? Like, you're just driven in that way?
I think so. I mean, if I just look at like my family or like how I grew up, like my parents had their own business. They were always working on different things. Um, like my brothers as well, they work on different things. So I don't think maybe it's because like I didn't see
Mm,
any other thing happening. So then it's a bit more like natural.
mm,
But also if I think about like my friends who like live in different countries, when I talk to them, they also have like multiple things going on. So maybe it's just, yeah, it feels like it's the norm. But then I do meet some creatives here who are like, my my work is like it takes a lot out of
mm-hmm,
me, and when I go home, I don't want to do anything. I
mm-hmm.
think that's fine as well, right? It's whatever
Yeah.
works for you.
Yeah. Definitely a
Yeah.
different personality trait. But then for you, it sounds like you're used to it because you grew up with it, but then it also gives you energy, right? It's not like, oh, I'm just pushing through because I
Mm.
have to do it. You actually enjoy going home
Yeah.
and working on that stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Um, what would you say is the key if there was like one or two things that you had to point out was key to staying on top of it all, to staying like on task? Because you're juggling a lot of deadlines and a lot of different things.
Mm.
Because like even with your business, you're still doing markets in the meantime. You're still creating new products and you're still drawing. And like, how do you, and then it's up to you to like figure out like, okay, I spend an hour on this and then an hour on this. Like, what would you say is the key kind of management process, I guess? Or like, what are you using that really helps you stay on top of all that?
Ooh. So, okay, before I say my answer, I have to say like I really admire how you do yours and how you split things up.
I don't know how I do mine.
Um, no, where you're like, this is my day off, I'm gonna try and reset, or
Mm,
like this is my time where I do my morning pages, and then this is my time where I do this. So like I really like that. I guess the way I do it is I use different platforms. So like anything to do with my my personal life and stuff, let's say I use like Google Calendar, and
mm,
Google Calendars on my phone. Um, Anything that like D and I do together, it's also Google Calendar. So we're always like across it,
mm-hmm,
and that way like nothing gets missed. So that's like one side.
mm-hmm,
In terms of like work deadlines, it's whatever system they're using at the time. So I
mm-hmm,
like I go in, I can see like, dates and stuff. So that's pretty straightforward.
mm-hmm,
Um, and then in terms of like KB business and Oh My Hues business, I actually started using Notion, and I have a love-hate
I know you
relationship
do.
with it because I keep trying to overcomplicate it,
Yes.
but this time I like I tried to make it really simple. I just go like, this is what the task is, this is when it's due. And I look at it every day, and it's on my phone as well. So I can just check when things are due, but I never put, unless it's like the Instagram schedule, I won't put the actual date. I will always give myself time,
Mm,
especially if I have to get things printed.
mm-hmm,
Um, Anything print related just stresses me out a bit. And so I always like give a little buffer.
mm-hmm,
And I guess that comes with experience, right? Like you know that when you get something back, it might not look great.
mm-hmm. That's your graphic
There
design
might be some
experience.
errors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, I guess it's like knowing or having different kinds of like organization tools, but then being on top of it. So I know that if, for example, if I tried to use Notion for my personal stuff, like it would crash and burn so quickly.
Mm,
Um, So maybe the using different tools for like different things also
Yeah.
helps my brain go, "Oh, okay, so like Google
Yeah.
Calendar, that means it's like, D and my stuff kind of thing."
That's so interesting. That's not the answer I was expecting. So you are compartmentalizing,
Oh, sorry.
which no, it's a good thing because I didn't know what you were going to say. I thought you were just going to say you wrote it down. I didn't know like you had different platforms for different different parts of your business. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Nice. Because then it's easy to like, do you think it would be really hard if everything was on Google Calendar, for example, or Notion?
Yes. Yeah.
Because you wouldn't be
I
able to
tried to
separate.
do Karen.
Yeah.
I tried to do Kiran Baclay stuff, and I was like, "Oh, I already use Google Calendar. I can just, add it
Mm.
on." And I got so overwhelmed looking at this calendar because I was like, "Well, this is my personal stuff. Why is there business stuff on here?"
Oh, interesting. Okay. I use my calendar for everything, but I guess like I don't have much personal, it's just all business stuff on there. So that works. But it makes sense because I'm like that with my journals, right? It needs to be separate or like it's overwhelming. That's a really good point. Interesting. Um, okay, what would you
Yeah,
say?
you missed like 11 journals. That is my like
That's
Google
your,
Calendar,
yeah,
Notion, and it's
pretty
like,
much.
yeah.
Yeah. Because my Notion is for personal and business, but they're on separate pages, so it feels different to me. They're on like their own like dashboard kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. Would you say it's working well for you now, Notion?
It's fine.
Let's not talk about that. Um,
Let's I'm still looking at like different platforms, but I like that it's free.
yeah, it is free. It's good. I will cry so hard if you leave. You know that I'm like so tied to Notion. I love it. Oh, what would you say is no, I want to ask you, do you have, obviously you do, but like, do you have those days where you do come home from work and you're like, I don't want to work on anything. Like I'm too tired, I'm too burnt out. And how do you manage
Yeah.
those days? When you know you kind of have stuff to do
Yeah.
and there's probably a deadline, like how do you manage that?
Mm, mm, mm. Um, I guess like I like to maybe like change my environment a bit. So let's say I just like I come home, I'm like, I don't want to be in front of the screen. So
Mm,
maybe it's, go for a walk, go like get a workout in or something. And then it makes me feel a bit more energized. And then when I come back, even if I still don't want to then do the task, I will move the dates around. Like
mm.
it's fine. It's fine to move the dates. It's not, I'm not saving anyone, but it can be moved.
Yeah, I like that. So that's like self-compassion. Yeah,
Like,
being kind to yourself when. Okay,
mm,
so you actually won't do the work then? You allow yourself to just move the dates and then just kind of take the rest of the night off?
yeah,
I like that. Nice.
yeah.
What would you say is the hardest part about all of this? I was gonna say just the market, but like everything, juggling everything. What's the hardest part?
Um, this was a really good question. I have so many things. Um, okay, so I would say I guess like the one that would go across all of them would be managing my expectations
Mm.
versus the reality of things.
Can you give an
And
example?
yeah, yeah, I will take it back to like the two businesses that I like, started and then it didn't work out. And so I really wanted to have a business. I thought, this is great. I have this product. People like these things. It's going to sell. It'll be fine. Like it's gonna go like, whoa, overnight success.
Yeah.
Um, and then very quickly realizing, oh shit, like it takes work, right? And so much work. And like all the trial and error, the like tweaking, like, okay, like this thing, I really like it, but it doesn't do well. So what do I do? And along the way, it's if I was so passionate about those products, I would have found a way to
Mm-hmm.
like rejig things, which is what I do with like the things that I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing now. But they failed because the passion wasn't there to push through, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I think it's like it's managing that, and I guess being in it for the long run. Because if I think about like when I work on Kiran Baclay, when I work on Oh My Hues, there are things that it just like maybe it doesn't work out, but it doesn't seem so hard. It's like, oh, that didn't work. Like what else can I do? What else can we do? And then you just kind of push through. So I can definitely see it now
Mm.
of like I'm in it for the long haul. Everything that I learned then, I'm still like obviously applying it now. And then whatever I learn now, take it into the next business. So yeah.
Okay, I love that. And what would you say is the best part about everything you're doing?
Um, Probably like I have so many ideas, right? And it's like it's seeing the concept of like this idea was in here and now I've taken it out. I've like developed it and this is the end, like this is the product. I'm now holding it and I've made it. And not only that, someone's seen it and someone goes, "Hey, I like that. Like I want that."
Yeah.
And then now it's like it's in someone else's home across the world. And just like it just that's
Love that. Yeah,
that is
that's
what it's
crazy.
like.
Literally across the world in different countries. We should have a map of like
Right?
all the places our stickers have gone. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. And it's along the way as well, right? You gain all this knowledge about, okay, that's how that's done. And then you can then take it and apply it to something else. So I think yeah, that's the amazing part of it.
I did I remembered as you were talking, we forgot to mention a fourth thing that you do because you're not busy enough, but you're also my admin. Oh, did you forget as well?
I was
You're
like,
so
what?
confused.
What else do I do?
You basically run my Patreon and make sure all the links are up to date. And make sure that I don't have any typos. I just, as soon as I post something, I just wait for your message going like screenshot. You've got a typo. I swear I never make typos until you started pointing them out. I'm like, maybe I just like subconsciously leave them in there for you so you can get a hit every time you say I've got a typo. But yeah, you do that. We have like admin calls all the time and you help me stay on track. And that's so much work as well. And I forgot when I asked you to do that, but I want to say it's been like 2 years now, almost 2 years now that you've been doing that.
Yeah. Has it only been 2 years? Sometimes I
Oh,
feel like
God. God, it's been
it's
that long.
been going on for
I mean, it was pretty
um
much soon after you joined, maybe 3 years. I don't know. I remember the moment
I'll
I
have to
asked you
check.
because I was terrified, but I don't remember the exact date. I mean, we can just go back and see when the content schedule started looking better, is when you started doing it.
No, I think I went back to the very first
And did it.
2020 and I like updated everything.
Oh my God. It's amazing. Oh,
But
I love that I
everything,
like saw that quality in you because I wasn't sure. I don't know if it was offensive, but like I loved that. Because you were already kind of doing it. You were already voluntarily doing admin work by pointing out, like, hey, you should pin your post. You haven't pinned your post yet. Every month.
I I I remember just like making little comments to D like, "Oh, I just wish I could, I can see how I can help out, but maybe that's not what she wants." Like,
Oh my
I'm
God.
so involved. And
That's
he's
so
like,
funny.
"Yeah, you're so involved." And then when you asked, I was like, "I have notes."
You did.
I have notes.
But seriously, like you helped so much. Like I feel like because your whole point was like, I'll take care of this stuff where you continue the creating. But it wasn't just that. Like it wasn't just the admin work. Like I feel like you helped me stay on track and get out of my head as well. So you help me give me direction because I'm the same. I have too many ideas and I feel like I'm too close to it that I
Mm.
get like too close to the deadlines and you're like, no, push this out, do this instead. And I feel like all your skills are just so transferable across everything. Like you already had such a knack for managing logistics, communication, organizing all this stuff. And so like it makes complete sense to me that you're juggling like four different things at once because I feel like it's in your nature to get into the nitty gritty. I love it. I feel so bad every time, but like I love it. You keep everything so organized
I
for me.
I feel like it's such a little thing. Like when every time you're like, oh, you make like all the links organized. I'm like, oh, just links.
They would not be links without you. They would just be text, honestly, because I don't have like the time to do that. And in my head, I'm like, well, they can just find it themselves. They can just search. But like I think that's part of the market mindset that you have of like making, I don't know, you care about helping people find stuff. Just make it easier for people. I love it. It's just, yeah, I would not have links. Everything just looks so different as soon as you came on board, and it's great. Like the Patreon direction has just changed. I think I'd still be super overloaded with different things if you went there going like, hey, let's
Mm,
drop this. Let's not do this anymore. Is this taking up too much of your time? Let's not do that. So I feel like you're like my business coach on the side as well. It's great. I love it. But that's also a fourth thing. You are juggling, and that's pretty ongoing.
yeah. But I feel like that portion though is really like us bouncing ideas off each other for our businesses as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just, hey, update the links and that's it, or like, hey,
Yeah.
upload this stuff. It's really like it's really open and it's a two-way thing. So I love it.
It's definitely more, I'm definitely getting more out of it than you are, but let's move on from that. Okay. Let me actually look at my questions because I was asking you questions and
Okay.
I wasn't actually checking my list. It just happened to be the same thing. What is something that you've made? Let's do two different questions because I feel like you have an answer for both. What's something you've made that you're most proud of? Something you've created, a physical product
Mm. Ooh,
or a
I
character.
think it would be, yeah, I think it would be the breakthrough of of developing Frankie the Hedgehog. Because again, I don't know why, but it takes 2 years for me to get anything done. I remember I initially started out with wanting to have my brand character as owls, and
Mm-hmm.
I worked on them. Like I love them so much, and then it just like I guess it just didn't. It wasn't the time for them, so that didn't work out. And then I created a list of all these different animals. And I think I tried to do like Australian animals because I found them
Mm.
like I didn't grow up around these animals, so it was like so fascinating. And then I remember like one day I shared that list with you,
Yeah.
and you were like, "Oh, echidna, echidna. I could see you doing like an echidna." And I said, "Oh, I'm scared that someone will look at it and think it's a hedgehog because I don't think I could draw."
All right.
And then you were like, "Yes, hedgehog."
Yeah. I like that cuter
Um,
anyway.
and then I went to Bambi and I was like, "Hey, can you name this?"
Yeah.
She's
She
so good
named
at
both of
it.
our characters. She named Herbie as well.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep. And so yeah, I think Frankie the Hedgehog definitely is something I'm proud of for like the brand.
Do you know how many Frankies you have
Yeah.
now? How many different Frankies you have?
I think I have, so I made 12 last year, then I made 12 last week.
Yes.
And then I have like I think 5 or 6 small ones. So maybe around 30, which is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's crazy. And you only just started last year. I just felt like as soon as you came up with like you decided
Yeah.
on your character, it just like poured out of you. And you're like, hey, here's 10 more that I created. I'm like, where is this coming from?
What do you think?
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's so funny. I still remember that conversation so well. But it just like,
That
I
was
feel
in
like it's,
August last year.
oh wow, almost exactly a month. I mean, a year, approaching a year. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like when people ask me, oh, how did you come up with Herbie? Um, I think for me it was like I don't know what to say because it really wasn't intentional. Like I wasn't trying to come up with a
Mm.
character. It happened very organically. I think the very first Herbie was actually the Herbie face in the Gentle Motivation pack, and then it says like believe in yourself
Oh,
underneath.
yes.
I think that was the very first official Herbie. And then I don't think anyone really said anything. They were just like, oh yeah, he's cute. And then I think I just liked drawing him because I was like, oh, he's so easy. It's just a blob. It is
He's
so
so
good.
grumpy.
Because I didn't know how to draw expression. So I feel like it came naturally out of like the limitation of my drawing. And so like I don't know, it just happened very naturally. So I feel like when people ask, I'm like, I don't know, I couldn't do anything else. I can't draw anything more detailed than that. Oh.
That's kind of what I said as well. Someone asked, they were like, "Oh, did you grow up with hedgehogs as pets? Like, what is the backstory? Surely there is one." And I was like,
To draw this many
he's
hedgehogs.
he's what I can draw."
That's so
And I was
good.
like, "I can't draw him sitting down yet. Sorry.
When Herbie sits down, he's just like,
Stay tuned."
his legs are still straight because he has like no knees. Oh, so terrible. But I love it because it looks like an intentional drawing style. And I feel like this is something you really relate to because we talk about this all the time, how like we can't draw. We can't draw like Bambi, but we still do it and we like work within our kind of like limitations. And like I think
Yeah.
I was the same as you. I did not draw as a kid because I feel like that's a really common backstory for artists of like, oh my God, I spent hours drawing. I
Mm.
was always drawing, sketching. I did not like ever. And I didn't enjoy it. And still now I actually, it's probably like so sacrilegious to say, but like I still don't enjoy it because it's so stressful for me. But like it's just
But you still draw every month. Like you do a full sticker sheet every month.
yeah, and it's
That is
so
wild.
stressful every single month. Like I panic every time.
Can
But
you
I feel like
please sell them all?
this is not the right conversation for this, Karen. Save this for the admin call afterwards, please. um, but I feel like with us, it was discipline rather than cultivating that like natural talent. I think for well, I can't speak for you, but for me, it definitely
Yeah.
wasn't a natural talent or skill to draw. It was so hard. It still is so hard. And every month I'm just like, what am I doing? Why do I even have a tier where I'm drawing stickers? Like, I hate this. But I'm glad because after 4 years of drawing every single month, like, yeah. So I
Yeah.
totally relate to that of like, the frustration of wanting to create something, but as an artist that can't really draw, it's like dealing with that frustration as well, right? And like you must have dealt with some imposter
Yeah.
syndrome as you're starting your business of like, why am I doing this if I can't even draw, right? Did you face that early on?
100%. 100%. I was like, I can't, yeah, like I cannot even draw. What is this? Like, who am I to sell stickers that I go, I drew this.
Yeah.
But
I
then, yeah, but then you just do it.
exactly. And like someone said to me actually at the end of the journaling workshop, the one at Mellor, and they said, oh, I would love to do what you do, but I can't draw. I'm like, listen, listen, I can't. I still can't draw. Because like you think I
You're
can,
like,
but it's digital. I can erase stuff. I can do it like 10 times before we get the shape that we want. Like it doesn't come naturally to me.
yeah,
And I feel like that's it.
you should just send them to like Studio Vlog 3,
What are you trying to
Studio
say?
Vlog 6,
What are you trying to say?
where you like, where you said, I don't know how to draw, so I'm learning.
Is that actually in Studio Vlog 3?
And you're like, it's in one of your early ones where you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I
I
don't
can't
have this
draw.
skill naturally, but I'm trying,
Yeah.
right? And that's
Yeah.
that's just it. And then look where you are now. How many sticker sheets do you have?
I don't know. You probably know the answer.
Exactly. Exactly.
But my point is, I want people watching this, like hopefully artists that want to start up their own business, to feel like, oh, I can't do what they do because I can't draw. We still struggle with it all the time, and it doesn't come naturally to us, and it doesn't
Mm,
mean you can't draw. And I think both of us dip our feet more into the graphic design, like we're much more comfortable with that. And so like you can
mm,
incorporate elements of that into it as well. And
yeah.
yeah, it's just even after 4 years of drawing every single month, it's still extremely difficult. And like, yeah, I just
Yeah.
want people to know that. Because like I feel like every other artist that does this stuff, it's like it's so easy for them, it's their hobby. For you and I, it's just like, all right, let's get this thing done. Let's sit down and try to figure this thing out. Because like I want this product, but I can't draw it. So it's just so stressful. I feel like that's
Yeah.
relatable for people. Yeah.
100%. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so that's something you've made, Frankie the Hedgehog. What's something that you've done or achieved? It doesn't have to be tangible that you're most proud of.
Um, I'd probably say maybe like the journey of things, right? So I have like really big things that I'm proud of that I've done, and then many, many little things. So for example, like I wanted to like live and work in a different country, and I was able to do that. Like again, so fortunate that I was able to do it, but I did it. And then I wanted to like take classes or learn stuff. So then I saved for it, and then like I was able to do that. I wanted to go back and study and change career at like 30. And so again, like, able to get past like all these fears and like take that on. Um, and I guess it's then as I was changing career as well, one of the things that was important was, even though I know I will have a full-time job or I will get a full-time job, I want to still be able to freelance on top of that. And so like, so I do that, right?
Mm.
When I can. Um, so I guess it's like taking little steps towards each goal. And now that I can kind of see that I have failed in some businesses, or like I am failing in some things, it's not stopping me. I'm still here, like I'm still going. Um, and it's all about like challenging how I think about things. So yeah, I guess I'm proud of like the journey of just like keep going. This is what I'm proud of.
That's so beautiful. And then you ended with this. I would like to rephrase that, because what I heard was not the journey so much. It was more that I think you should be proud of yourself for pushing through despite setbacks, despite things that could have made you less confident about it. Again, starting over at 30,
Mm,
like that's so scary for people, because like when people are 30, that's when they want like things to be stable. They don't want to shake things up again.
mm,
And so I feel like,
mm.
yes, you were fortunate in a way to have the opportunity to do that. But I feel like even just that mental obstacle of being like, no, I want to do something different and I'm going to shake it up. I feel like that's huge as well. So I feel like,
Yeah.
yeah, to be proud of yourself for still like, and now you're doing a market. Like it's just, you're still doing like taking on so many new things. And it's crazy. It's exciting. Like, I don't think you,
It is.
like 6 months ago, did you see yourself like here doing, or like last year before you even had Frankie? It's crazy, like how much changes in a whole year.
I know. I know.
It's so exciting. Yeah, I just find it so interesting that you did such a pivot. Like it was such a pivot, like a totally different career. But then at the same time, like the best part about it is that you're still using everything that you learnt in hospitality, business
Hmm.
administration, or it
Yeah.
all applies. And like I think it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking like, oh, I wasted so much time. I could have been doing something else. But like, even with the failed businesses that you said, like all of that was like crucial to be where you are today. Like maybe without those failed
Yeah.
businesses, you wouldn't be able to run your current one. Like it'd be totally different. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
What you said.
Yeah. If you could go back and tell yourself one thing, let's say while you were still working in hospitality, your full-time job, um, what would you tell yourself right at the beginning when you're doing, you're watching all these studio vlogs and you're
Oh
taking all
my.
these workshops? Is there something you'd go back and tell yourself?
I think I would just hug her so tight and cry
Not
and
a
be
word,
like,
just cry.
I just cry and be like, keep going. Don't give up.
Oh my God, I love it. Oh, yeah, I feel like my answer would be the same as
Nothing,
well.
nothing profound.
Hmm. Because when people ask me that question, well, no one asks me that. When I ask myself that question, I always think about the
What
butterfly
would you
effect.
say?
Yeah, because I can't say anything. I get too technical with it. It was like, well, I can't say anything because then it would change the course of my life. Like I can't actually. It's not a proper answer. But I think everyone's answer seems to always be keep going, keep pushing through. You'll get
Mm,
there eventually. If your heart is in the right place, you'll get there eventually.
yeah,
I think
yeah, yeah. Don't give up.
patience, yeah, patience and consistency was like the hardest lessons we had to learn, right? Because it's like, did you struggle with impatience as well during your journey?
Mm. Only in that maybe my ideas or my skill doesn't match my ideas.
Mm,
That's when I get impatient. But
interesting.
obviously, like skills take time to develop.
Yeah, yeah. But in terms of business
Yeah.
progress, like sales or anything, no, not so much.
I think not impatient, but more maybe at the start, actually, because that would go back to my expectations, right? I just expected it
Mm,
to be like, wow,
hmm.
everyone wants to buy this, and then being a bit impatient there. But I think overall, it's more I get impatient when I go, oh, I should be able to draw this by now.
Mm,
And it's
interesting.
like, it's okay that you can't.
Yeah.
It's fine.
We'll
Just
revisit
calm
that
down.
in a few years. Yeah.
Yeah.
The amount of times I've tried to draw a Herbie sideways, I'm like, wow, I have no idea what his
Oh
nose
my
looks
God.
like. It's just flat. I did draw it once and it was just completely like a block. And just his like ears. It just you couldn't even see his ears because it was just flat. It was just one
Like
brown
one
line.
ear.
You couldn't because it's like straight up. It's so stupid. It's just one long line. Oh, but I love
Oh
that.
my
Just
gosh.
pushing through. I think for me, I still get frustrated because I know I really want to do more like watercolor, kind of that style of, and I did just recently try
Mm.
it after like, what, how many years? And I think it's just,
But it was so good. It was so good.
yeah, but now I can't look at it again because I'm just like, oh, it's so bad. Like I can still do so much better. But I think that's the constant journey of being like, you're going to get better, but then that's a good thing that if you get frustrated with your past work, because it's like, I've clearly
Yeah.
grown
Yeah.
since then. And that's why I can't look at my past Patreon
Yeah.
stuff because I'm just like, oh my God, it's so cringe. The last, like the early stuff. Okay, but it's
Oh,
not
the
about me.
sushi,
No,
the
no, they
croissant,
don't know what you're talking about. No one sees that anymore.
the pancakes, the
Oh my
pancakes.
God. The mochi, do you remember the mochi and the onigiri? That was like the very first ones.
Yes. Yeah, I
So
have
I
them.
I definitely started with characters, but they were all blobs, so they all kind of evolved into Herbie.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you have any advice for anyone that is maybe watching this and like really relates to your story and wants to do what you do? Do you have any words of advice for them?
Hmm. I'm just looking at the time and I'm like, oh,
No, it's
I
fine.
have 1 minute. Um, maybe like focus on things you like to do. Don't put so much pressure on what you have to like create or what you have to sell or how you have to change so drastically. Like, how do you like to like unwind? What do you do for fun? Get out of your head, get out of your space. Something that I really like to do, I think I mentioned earlier, is like change my environment, right?
Mm,
So sometimes when I feel like I have so many problems and my problems, I can't tackle them or I can't see a way to overcome them, Dee and I will go out for like a hike or a walk or whatever. And whether it's like we're down by the ocean or like in a wood somewhere in the forest, I just realized that I'm so small in this like space and in this vastness of everything. And this like all this shit just falls away and you're left with what's important.
I love that. Yeah, beautiful.
So then I regain focus and momentum. So maybe just yeah, focus on what you want to do for fun. And that's my
Are you panicking? Just the
that's my
time.
message. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, what you
Take a
said was
step back,
basically
check in with yourself.
take a step back and check in with yourself. Yeah. Don't follow the trends, don't follow
Yeah.
the should. Yeah, I love that. Okay, so where can we find you? You've got
Wait,
a lot of
wait,
what?
wait.
What?
Like just going off that as well,
Okay.
I think that's why I love being part of your patron community
Oh, she's
and like
plugging my stop it. That is not checking out. That's like going deep into the business side. But you are a workshop patron.
no, but it's yeah, but it's you always have these reminders as well, right?
Mm,
About like check in with yourself. Don't don't do something just because everyone else is doing it. Like what do you want to do? What do you want to create? So it definitely helps. So thanks.
thank you. Thanks, Karen. Always plugging it. But where can we find you? Your market, your business, everything about you. Where can we find you? What are your handles?
Yeah. So online, you can find me on Instagram. So for Kiran Baclay, it's Kiran.Baclay. And for Oh My Hues, it's Oh My Hues, one word. And in person at markets, I will be tabling in July at Ugly Cutie Market and in September at Mellow Market. And then Dee and I are hosting Oh My Hues in August. And all of that, like that's in Melbourne. And yeah, you can find all the details on Oh My Hues.
Amazing. And thank you for
Mm.
chatting with us and sharing your life with us. I
Thank you. It was really lovely.
never know how to end this. Can you teach me how to end these? Because I just end up
Yes,
dragging it out
I can.
for 10 minutes because I'm so
I
awkward.
have three things that I can wrap it
Oh,
up.
amazing. Okay. Yeah.
Um, okay. So thank you for this chat. Thank you for having me on here on your Unplanned podcast. It's very it's really lovely to reflect back on my journey. And when you sent me these questions, it helped me. At first, I just thought, well, who wants to hear this? And then slowly reading the questions and answering them again, it is nice. And sometimes I just I pave ahead and I don't feel like what I'm doing is interesting. So I hope whoever's watching this, you do find it inspiring. And yeah, to start your journey, start where you are, which is one of your stickers.
Is it? Oh, you start where you are.
It is.
It is. Amazing. Thank you. Stop bringing it back to me. I'm trying to make it about you. That was so nice. Do you feel more gratitude for everything that you've done and your younger self and how hard you work to get where you are?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Definitely. I think D definitely helped me see that because I was talking through it with him and he's just like, stop. You have a journey, you have things to say. Just say it. Someone out there is trapped in their current, workspace and they want to
Mm-hmm.
escape it. How can they? Tell
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
love that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So tell me about yourself.
Why are you interviewing me?
Why are you doing this? Why
On
did
in
you
like
choose me?
4 years because I love you. That's why. No, you're making me awkward. Don't ask me questions.